Hello, Andover. Welcome to Convocation. Come on in and find a seat. We're going to get started. Folks, I am not on the program, so don't worry. You're at the right event. Reverend Gina, one of the chaplains here, and I just have a couple of things to start us off as we get started tonight. Friends, we made it. We have reached the culmination and the end of a spring term, and it was not easy. It was a hard term. It was marked by unexpected challenges and a lot of rain. It's the 12th weekend in a row with some rain in it in New England. Let it come tonight or tomorrow, but not on Sunday. But it's also been a term that's been marked by loss. It is natural to come to this moment, whether you're a member of the class of 2025, or 26, or 27, or 28, or a campus adult, and feel conflicted about the mix of happiness and sorrow this term has invited. Perhaps especially as we stand at the beginning of the commencement weekend, we are thinking about who is not here with us. I imagine those faces and names might be from many varied aspects of your life for different reasons. Maybe you're thinking about a family member who is not here for the weekend for whatever reason, or a beloved faculty member or coach, or a close friend from outside this community or within it. Surely there are friends that started this Andover journey with you this year or 4 years ago that are not still here. Or maybe they are, and your relationship to them is significantly different than it was before. Maybe you're thinking about Lucas tonight. So let's just name it. Amid the happy you feel right now, there is also sadness. Mixed with this sense of accomplishment is a sense of longing. Tied up in the relief is a little of something else. I don't know what that is for each of you. I just know that there's a lot swirling that does not all add up to one thing. So I want to invite us to take a moment of silence together, one more in this chapel this spring, and sit in remembrance and memory. In this soon-to-be silence, I invite you to just remember whomever. Lucas, a loved one, a friendship, a relationship lost. Let's just give it a little air to breathe right now, tonight. And now, exhale. I want to very explicitly give you permission to feel joy as we move into this night and this weekend. Whether this is your commencement weekend or not, I want to encourage you to experience these days and those ahead this summer for all that they are. I relieve you of the doubt or the question that there is some other way you should be feeling. Joy is possible only because you've known the other side of it. Loss, anxiety, fear, sadness. Joy is sweet because it is hard-earned and seen. It can take a lifetime to appreciate its arrival, but it looks like love and gratitude and hope. So whomever you remembered just now, in better times, in our shared silence, I hope it was someone who always wanted what was best for you. Someone who held hope when you doubted. Someone who believed in your potential, who celebrated your small and big victories, and who wobbled alongside you when you needed it. Hear them cheering you on this night and weekend to fully embrace all that is ahead. To know joy in this place too. And now, let us begin with Mr. Liu.
Thank you, Gina. Good evening, everyone. My name is Tim Liu, and as one of the class advisors for the class of 2025, it's my honor to welcome you all to Convocation tonight. To the class of 2025, congratulations. As you find yourselves now here for the first time, maybe ever, with a whole weekend to be here on campus. Together with your class, and without any deadlines on the horizon, I hope you have time to reflect on your journey here at Andover. What are your moments of pride? Each of you has a long list of accomplishments, from taking on leadership roles around campus to acing the final of your hardest class. You've had experiences that were the culmination of years of hard work in academics, the arts, athletics, and have also challenged yourselves to step outside of your comfort zone. You should be proud of yourselves for everything you've done, and I know I speak for the faculty, your teachers, advisors, coaches, and house counselors when I say we are proud of you. Now think about your moments of joy, the times when you felt happiness simply because of what was happening around you that instant. Maybe you were hanging out with your friends in Susie's, having a team dinner in Peresky, or taking a long walk with a friend through the sanctuary. Did you accomplish anything that day? Maybe not. But these moments of joy are the food for the soul. While the milestones you crossed may be some of your happiest moments at Andover, it probably took a lot of mental and emotional energy to get there. And I believe that the moments of joy were truly what made it all happen. I'll leave you with this. When I talk with alumni about their time at Andover, I rarely hear about being first chair or receiving a Latin award. I hear about lawning on the Great Lawn and laughing in the library. So as you continue your journey beyond Andover and continue crossing milestone after milestone, don't forget to seek out moments of joy, because at the end of the day, those are the moments that will stick with you forever. And with that, I'm very pleased to welcome Naima Reed from the class of 2025.
Good afternoon, Andover. My name is Naima. I'm a four-year senior from London, and on campus, I live in Day. Standing here at the end of 4 unforgettable years, I hope to pause and reflect on what has made my journey so special. Thank you first to the faculty who have guided us, and second to the class of 2025 for shaping me, shaping one another, and creating a kind of family that I know will stay with us long after Sunday's goodbye. I am so grateful for the community we've built and the moments that have made it so meaningful. Some of those moments were here on campus, others were far away, unexpected, unfamiliar, and still unmistakably Andover. One of these moments began 10 months ago, where I found myself in the Miami International Airport, sporting the new hiking pack I had bought the week before, surrounded by 10 of you, and anticipating what the next 3 weeks would teach me. 14 days later, we found ourselves at 15,000 feet in the Peruvian Andes, 5 hours by car from the nearest city or hospital or cell service. We spent 3 days here in the indigenous community of Cochamoco. For the first day, we immersed ourselves in the rhythms of the Keros Nation, where our American comforts were scarce, but novelty, community, and faith was abundant. The afternoon we arrived, the local shaman and his son, Iolahiko, took us to their spiritual place and invited us through one of their rituals. We climbed to the top of a nearby hill. Though probably dwarfed by Holt Hill, this adventure, combined with the altitude, took great strength and perseverance. One by one, the shaman took us, poured agua florida on our hats and heads, and prayed for our prosperity. After, we each took trilogies of coca leaves in our hands and prayed for ourselves and the things and people we cared about. The next day, I woke up and immediately I felt different. Not gratitude or revelation, no, I felt ill. I was exhausted after 2 weeks of Peruvian excursions, hiking, camping, and the most experiential learning I had ever experienced. My knees ached and popped from our 4,000 feet descent into Ollantaytambo the week earlier, where the sun set an hour before we reached our campsite, where I either closed my eyes or looked at the sky to avoid seeing the spiders and scorpions traversing the path alongside me, where I swore, after what my knees felt like that day, that I would never be able to walk again. I was freezing, partly because we slept in uninsulated rooms, vulnerable to the 20-degree nighttime weather, on mattresses laid over beds of hay, and partly because I was sick. So sick that everywhere I went, the dinner tent, the bathroom, or to work with the community we stayed with, I had to take a break between every 30-second increment of walking. On that same day, after a 5-minute walk to an alpaca pen, I sat for about 2 minutes and then passed out on bare earth, rocks, and manure as my groupmates watched a member of that indigenous community shear an alpaca. For those 3 days in Cochamoco, without the opportunity to shower, I wore Uniqlo underlayers beneath my thickest sweatpants and hoodie, 2 pairs of socks, gloves, a beanie, a headlamp, and a white jacket that was brown by the end of the trip. I illustrate my physical condition because it was so horrid, and because, through all of that, our trip to Peru was the greatest thing I had ever experienced. Like my 4 years here, like all of your experiences here, there was challenge and uncertainty, but it transformed us into the people we are today. For those 3 weeks without pause, we laughed and talked, learned about each other, and learned about ourselves. First, we conversed as near strangers, polite and cautious, but eventually, through all our pain and discomfort, through sharing stories and struggles and grime, I came to see you all as family. We, 10 people who were just strangers a month before, became family. That family got to know me as well as anyone in this room, and it took care of me. It indoctrinated me with more dad jokes than I'd ever heard in my life. It taught me Portuguese, soccer, and how to get the best deal out of a street vendor. It taught me about myself, that I love history and language, that I can enjoy walking slowly for hours and hours as an alternative to sprinting, and that I love meeting new people and learning from their stories. Our family showed me that I can get to know anyone and find something in common with them. Peru was so meaningful to me because of you, Andover, and you, the class of 2025. Andover, this is what you do. You create family. Closer to home, Andover has created many more families for me, from the Black Student Union to Thursday afternoons teaching ESL in Lawrence, to my advising group, an unexpected safe haven, and my 4-year home on Andover Track and Field. This place has taught me what it means to love and to be loved. It is here that I learned how to show up for others, how to be part of something bigger than myself, and how to trust that I'll always have a village behind me. These families have given me the foundation to grow. They have enabled me to choose uncertainty, encouraged me to take risks, and prepared me to go after everything that I want. This is what family does. This is what Andover does. Back in Peru, when we began to part ways at the Lima airport, Mr. Cutler, our group leader, gathered us to commemorate the moment. He told us that moment was the last time we would exist as the group we were throughout the trip. That inevitably, time and school and senior year and all of the other parts of our lives would change our relationships to each other. It was both sad and joyful, amazing to see how close the 10 of us could grow in just a couple of weeks, and a little scary to think how easily that closeness might fade until we became mere acquaintances once again. Today feels a little bit like that moment. It is almost hard to remember who we all were 4 years ago as strangers to each other. But now, after years of this place, of living together and passing each other on the paths, eating in lower left, exploring new things, winning and losing, leading and lawning, our stories have become intertwined. We have built friendships and formed families. This is the last moment we'll all be in the same place at the same time as the group of people we are today. From here on, things will change. But if there's one thing I've learned, being sick in Peru, from those yearly AMP cookouts, forming unlikely friendships in Lawrence, on the track, or living internationally, it's that distance doesn't undo connection. The best parts of what we've shared don't disappear just because we're no longer in the same place. Family lasts. This family will last. Thank you.
Good evening, Andover. Before I begin, I'd first like to thank my family, as well as all of my teachers and classmates who have made it possible for me to be here today. What an incredible honor it is to celebrate this event with you all. To the class of 2025, congratulations. We are now officially just 3 days away from graduation. For those of you who don't know, my name is Andy, and I came to Andover last year as a new 11th grader. Playing football in the fall, I was excited to meet my new teammates and get to know everyone else at school. It's apparent to me now that my arrival confused people. As one fellow senior so aptly put it, I looked like I was a, quote, teaching fellow in his mid-30s. No matter how old you may all think I am, if there's anything high school has given me, it's the time I've had to reflect on my journey. As I look back to the past 2 years specifically, there's a lot of things that have gone well. Those of you who were there for my first Andover start at quarterback against Deerfield last fall know exactly what I'm talking about. In fact, this game went so well that after leading the offense out on the field for our first 2 drives, the score was 14-0, Deerfield. Those of you playing on the baseball team this spring also know how well I played in my quote-unquote legacy game against my former high school. Coming out from the bullpen with my own personal walk-up song, Bands Make Her Dance, playing in my head, I threw a whopping 10 pitches before coach took me out. It was certainly quite the legacy to leave. I share these stories because even though I felt disappointed and frankly quite embarrassed in the moment, as I look back on my time at Andover today, I can truly say that these were some of the most rewarding experiences of my life. After the Deerfield game, a bunch of my teammates all found ways to reach out and offer their encouragement, not because they had to, but because they genuinely cared. One captain texted me right after the game, motivating me to keep my head up and continue being the leader I am. I'll never forget that moment, knowing I was surrounded by a group of teammates that made me feel like I wasn't facing everything alone. And I'm still, to this day, so incredibly grateful for their support in picking me up at my lowest. As my old baseball coach used to say, in moments of adversity, it's easy to feed the negative wolf in our heads. I'm bad, I suck, or I'm not enough. And I'll be the first one to admit that I myself have done this quite often. Yet, in my time here, I've learned through my own experiences that one bad moment is just one small step of our journey that will lead us to greater opportunities. Of course, I wish I'd played better in these games, but had I not had these moments, I wouldn't have grown as close as I am now to my teammates, and I certainly wouldn't have understood how much it means to surround yourself with people who show up when things fall apart. We are never defined by our past struggles. We are defined by our character, kindness, and ability to overcome. These 2 games of my Andover career are just a small sample size of all the challenging moments in my life that have yet to come. But I've learned through just these 2 to truly appreciate and cherish those around you. However, having had these incredible experiences, feeling this power of team, I find it ironic how easy it is to fall into the trap of comparing ourselves to others, wanting to be better. Again, I'll admit myself that at an uber-competitive place like Andover, where everyone is good at something, I have at times become result-driven and compared myself to others. I wish I could do this. I wish I had that. I wish she snapped me back. I wish. But should we really wish for something else if we are all blessed with our own unique talents and gifts. Ernest Hemingway once said, "There is nothing noble in being superior to your fellow man. True nobility is being superior to your former self." I believe that happiness is the constant pursuit of your own dream, your own mission, your own purpose. If we spend our valuable time worrying about what others have accomplished, we will never experience true happiness ourselves. If I'd compared myself to those that played better than me instead of working to get better myself, I would have ignored the support from my teammates and never fully cherished their incredible presence. I know this may sound cliche, but I truly, truly believe that as students at Andover, we are all destined to do great things. Let us cheer on the accomplishments of our friends, classmates, and teammates, but let us not worry by comparing ourselves to them, because we are all on our own separate journeys and our own separate timelines to our destinations. In an interview about dealing with the passing of his father at the age of 10, famous TV host and comedian Stephen Colbert said that he, quote, "learned to love the thing he most wished had not happened." Learned to love the thing he most wished had not happened. How often do we experience something bad, something challenging, and question its purpose? Why is this happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? At some point in our lives, we will all deal with our own unique form of adversity. And the reality of life is that we will never achieve great things in a straight line. This winter, when I didn't get into my first choice college, I vividly remember asking my father in the moment, "What's the point of working hard? What's the point of being a good guy if my dream is now shattered?" I've since come to realize, mainly in part due to my experiences here, that it is, again, just one small step of the journey that gives me the opportunity to live a new story, meet new people, and make new lifelong memories. Obstacles are inevitable for all of us. We may know what purpose they serve now, we may not. But if there's anything I've learned through my high school experience, it's that the journey often won't be straight, but it is truly the journey that teaches us a lot about our destination. Thank you, and congratulations, class of 2025.
That was fabulous. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Hello. It is so wonderful to see you all here. I love this event because it's just us. Here we are together for one moment more. We are joined by the stories we share. You may have noticed the adults at PA tend to be people of passion. At some point, they have fallen in love with jazz, with philosophy, with astrophysics, with clay, with tennis, with writing, with problem solving, with singing. And they love sharing what they love. Every time they see you seniors, their hearts skip a little beat, delighted by the opportunity to share their loves with you. When I was a student at Andover, 100 years ago, I fell in love with reading. I read a lot, every day, every week, and the world changed for me. Here's the first lesson of literature. Things are not always what they seem. Have you ever flown in an airplane, maybe taking off during a thunderstorm? Winds howling, rains lashing the windows, darkness swirling over the runway, turbulence in your tummy. And then you ascend, and as you emerge through the clouds and get up there, you feel shocked to discover the blue sky and the sun, so calm, so peaceful, so bright. And it was like up there all the time. Just because you can't see something doesn't mean it isn't there. We're all a bit blind in one way or another, but reading can mitigate our blind spots. It strengthens our capacity for new perspectives. There's always another perspective, telling a different version of events. Some of the most important stories, some of the most beautiful stories, are happening between the lines or underground. Did you know that some trees live together as families? That they talk to each other, send out warning signals when danger threatens, convey secret messages through the mushrooms? They feed their hungry neighbors and nurse each other when they're sick? They really thrive together as a forest. I read that in a book. Most of it happens underground, invisible to us. We can't always see the forest for the trees, but it's all around us, every day. Look around you now. The appeal of spike ball, the history of high-heeled shoes, the complicated feelings you might be having about the prom. Books can explain all of that. In fact, I can think of one book that explains all three. Amazing. The world is full of weirdness and surprises and delight. For me, learning how to read widely and deeply was like wiping a fog off of a window. Suddenly, I could see things that had been there all along, obscured by my ignorance or my assumptions or my limited experience. And reading taught me to see through lies, to believe that I could break free from the chains of myth. It gave me the power to name, to explain, a chance to change the conversation, a chance to change the story. I often hear students complain about reading as work. Yeah. Sometimes reading requires a lot of effort. That's a fact. But there's more to the story. You will not be in school forever. So keep your heart open to reading for pleasure. In the arms of a book, you can lose yourself, you can let go of control, you can laugh out loud or weep with abandon. You too can find freedom. Sometimes, for me, the story of Andover feels too narrowly circumscribed by the story of capitalism, by the language of the factory. We talk about work, efficiency, being productive, spending time, wasting time, saving time. Success defined in terms of numbers or competition, transcripts and ledgers. That language makes me feel forlorn, like a wretched character in a Dickens novel. Ugh. Unfree, a mere widget grinding along in the gears of a brutal economy, a cog in the machine, an asset in somebody else's portfolio, a commodity in the marketplace. Instead, I prefer the language of nature. Andover as a story of seeds, saplings, branches, flowers, fruits. An ecosystem where roots become entwined to provide mutual strength and nourishment. I would rather feel like a tree in a forest. I think Miss Kirchie is probably the squirrel in this scenario. I prefer the language of forgiveness, of community, of collaboration, of shared loves. The humanities give us the power to imagine a different kind of story here. They give us the power to change the narrative. Another lesson of literature is that things are changing all the time. Do you remember how cold it was this winter? Do you remember what a gorgeous summer day it was yesterday? The cold was so intense, so real at the time, but it didn't last. And neither did the sun. But don't worry, it's coming back. It'll come back on Sunday. It's up there, even though we can't see it. Books ask you to develop patience, to take your time before you make up your mind, because there's always more to the story. Do you remember your first year of high school? I do. I'm never going to forget it. In the fall of 2021, some of you arrived here like a shot of adrenaline after the torpor of the pandemic. You were so happy to be here. You were so happy to be in school together with other kids. The year before, many of us had suffered in remote school. Lonely, but afraid of getting too close. The pandemic had broken something, and you leaned into each other in the hope that closeness could heal the wound. You were tired of distance and isolation. In my Period 7 English 100 class that year, you were not that interested in work. Remember that? You were interested in friendship and fun. We toddled on the edge of chaos every day. You ate so much sugar on Friday afternoons, dervishes of irrepressible energy, and a few sleepy heads in the corner fighting to keep at least one eye open, unaccustomed to these suddenly long and full days. I'm not going to name any names. You felt frustrated sometimes. You argued. You hated some stories and characters at first. Things got heated. Do you remember the great scooter debate? Whew, that was intense. But you kept reading. You showed up for each other every day. One chapter at a time, through the fire, a little opening. You changed your minds. You got closer to each other, and your roots became entwined. Lower year was difficult for some of you, fraught with injuries, long COVID, bouts of depression, fits of self-doubt. It may have been hard to imagine back then how the next 2 years would unfold. Maybe you thought you were living in a story of tragedy or injustice, that you were cast in the role of victim or jilted lover. But that was not the only story. Just look at you now. I have seen you persevere, reimagine yourselves, lean on each other, and grow stronger. I have seen you grow more flexible in yoga class, in Bullfinch, in your expectations. I have seen you forgive yourselves and each other. Maybe, after all, you are not merely a character acting out the role someone else has written for you. Maybe instead you are the author, rewriting the script one beautiful day at a time. If you want to live a life of adventure, go out and seek adventures. If you want to fall madly in love, open your heart and let the love find you. Maybe the end depends upon the beginning. Maybe not. The teachers in Bullfinch who love you taught you not only how to read, but also how to write. Every one of you can become a great writer, and you can also become the greatest character you ever wrote. Don't be afraid to wish for more. Uncertainty can be scary, I know, but it also leaves the door open for hope. My hope is that you will keep reading. Books are always there for you on rainy days and lonely days and days of boredom. They can bring you back to life when you feel numb. Andover 2 will always be here for you. And the stories you tell yourself about your time here, about what it all meant, will likely change over time. Teachers and coaches will become friends and colleagues. Turn to look at the staff and faculty you are sitting with right now. Maybe you try calling them by their first name over dinner. Why not? What do you have to lose? Come on. Why not? Tomorrow is a brand new day. Go ahead and turn the page.
Hello, 2025. This is either my last hello to you or my first goodbye. As one of your class advisors and as an English teacher for many of you over the past 4 years, I feel entitled to give you one final assignment. And here it is. Have fun.